Welcome to The Other Side of the Bridge with Iron City Paranormal, where they discuss real investigations, first-hand experiences, unexplained moments, and everything that happens when you step off the regular path and onto the other side of the bridge. Just honest paranormal talk, Iron City Paranormal style. And now, here are your hosts, Derek Smith and Dan Metelsky.
There are moments when curiosity urges us to take a leap of faith, even when we have no idea what's waiting ahead. A bridge is the physical embodiment of our curiosity taking over, allowing for our passion for the unknown to drive us forward. A bridge is where we leave solid ground behind, and for a moment we're suspended between what we understand and what we don't. The transition between where we feel safe and where we lose control of our own destiny. Tonight, we're crossing that bridge together. Welcome to the other side of the bridge. We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to walk with you across the bridge and into the unknown. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was a little weird to listen to that voiceover and like you could see me.
You're not talking.
I'm not saying anything. Welcome, yins, guys, back to the other side of the bridge. We are on episode 8. Wow. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again. Tonight we have a good one. It's very different than our other episodes so far. We're not talking about spooky stuff. We're actually talking about something that is Erin's specialty. That's why she's on the top tonight. Look at her up there. Look at you up in the corner. I'm usually up there. I like this.
Just wait till she takes center stage.
Oh, no. Let's not do that again.
We're not going to bring up the fact that she's super nervous about this.
Oh, yes.
But tonight we're talking about crystals. Are they psychic enhancers? Are they protective shields? Are they amplifiers for spirits? Or are they just rocks? That's what we're getting into tonight. So a whole bunch of stuff.
Thorough.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to try to be as thorough as possible. We're going to see if we can do this in one episode, but there's no guarantees.
I'd say there's probably more of a guarantee that this goes to 2.
I think if we want to allow Erin to do this the right way, for the level of crystal discussion we can get into. I think it's going to take a couple, but we'll see.
With
right?
My spread of crystals I have in front of me right now, that's not a far-fetched.
Are you going to show and tell, or are they there for your protection?
Well, I did send Derek bunches of pictures of them so we can go through them, but I do have them to show everyone as we go through.
I can put a slideshow on if you want.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Be like kindergarten show and tell with your crystals. I love it. Yeah. I like this energy we're bringing tonight.
Oh yeah.
So
it's fun. It's what we do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So obviously the three of us have very different, I don't want to say beliefs, because I think we all believe in the power of crystals. We all believe in, something that we don't understand. But what the crystals are something that, that definitely bring us together and are also something that provide us all with some sort of strength when it comes to investigations. And they also bring us some mental clarity and some potentially some special abilities that we typically don't have without them. So there's a lot to gather as it comes to crystals in this episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we all have different thoughts and, like you were saying, different backgrounds and beliefs when it comes down to it. But I think that's one thing we can all agree on. We all kind of have crystals on us, whether it's in our offices, in our trucks, just on investigations, one way or another. They're kind of all around us.
Yeah, they are. I have one hanging from my rearview mirror. I know Derek and Erin, you guys wear them quite often. You have them in your pockets. I think I still have one of yours, Erin, from an investigation.
Probably, yeah.
One you've been looking for. It's on my
Or
She must
as
not.
the way the crystals go now that one is yours because it has found its new home. It is yours now.
Well, I
She
hope it's
hasn't been
not.
missing it.
No,
Apparently
no, that's
not.
the way of the crystals, right? Like if it's gifted to you, if it ends up in your, like it has found its way to you, and so it has found its new home. It's yours now. Look at that. It's magic.
That's interesting because that's also how you get rid of Dybbuk boxes,
I
which
know.
I don't
Isn't that
know.
great? Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this. Am I going to get haunted by the crystal now?
I don't think that's how it works.
I don't
I
know.
mean, maybe.
Crystal Dybbuk box. Which one?
Maybe you're just worried that it smells too much like me, and you just don't want any of that in your house.
Nope.
I don't blame you.
She's yours
I
now.
don't blame you.
She's yours
So,
now.
so I'm gonna say where I'm at on this whole debate. I think they're pretty, right?
Yeah.
I think
Pretty rocks.
I love green. I love green stones. I love green anything, but beyond that, like I don't know. There's something about crystals that just make me feel safe.
Mhm.
You know, I think that they're like kind of like a shield for me, so to speak.
Mhm.
But I have
Yeah.
other things in my life and on my person, typically during investigations, that are doing the same thing. So I can't answer whether it's a debate on placebo or a tool or
Mhm.
something actually, you know, rooted in some sort of mystical powers within a stone. I'm here for it. I want to learn about them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no matter what, it all kind of ties together, right? If you're using it for the intent, just like we do everything else, its intention, it amplifies, and that's exactly what they do. So,
Yeah.
you take whatever your thought process is there, and the crystal amplifies it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the
Mhm.
1,000 foot
100% agree.
description.
Yeah, like we all use crystals in one way or another as a tool, in some way, shape, or form, whether that is just as a tool to funnel in those intentions, whether it is as a, an amplifier for that placebo effect. Like, you guys in particular, I'm not going to speak for you, but I feel like in my observation of you guys on investigations, use primarily protection stones for that reason, right? Like there is an intention
Mhm.
behind it. There are specific stones. You're choosing the black stones every single time for protection, and that's
Mhm.
primarily what you're using them for. Yeah, onyx and obsidian, those are fantastic. Amethyst is fantastic for protection, Diana. Absolutely. Like we'll get into some. I know I have like a whole list of crystals that we use. I use a lot on investigations, and amethyst is one of my go-tos, especially if I'm trying to find protection, but also positivity. There's some of my little collection there. I have that the sphere sits on my desk with me every day here at home. But yeah, I mean, to be able to walk into, I mean, anybody who knows anything about crystals, and there's so many resources about crystals. I don't want to say that we are experts or anything. This is just how we use them. I've just recently gotten into crystals, and it speaks to me in a way that a lot of the other stuff doesn't. It just makes sense to my brain. But especially with amethyst, I'm using that whenever we're on an investigation. If we need protection, but we're also feeling positivity, we want to funnel that positivity. If I'm feeling feminine energies, a lot of times, like I gravitate towards the amethyst for whatever reason. But like amethyst is always a staple when we're on our investigations. Absolutely.
I remember a time a long time ago, probably close to 9-10 years ago, Derek. There was a good friend of ours, Gabe, that was with us, and he was very much like we are, where we're like, we don't understand what the crystals do, but boy, we were gonna have one with us just in case,
And
right?
he wanted the biggest one.
And he wanted the biggest amethyst crystal we had with us. It was raw, it was uncut, like it was a
It was
beautiful stone.
one that
Yeah.
we used for our shows. Like we put it on a table.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
huge. You have to have two hands to hold it, and he put it in his pocket.
He put it in his pocket and carried it around with him. But the one thing that I remember, we didn't bring any ghosts home with us on that, which was
So it
great.
worked.
We did not have anything attack us. I had something pull on my pants on that one a little bit, just like my shorts.
Mhm.
But what I will tell you is that it scratched the living hell out of his cell phone in his pocket.
Yeah.
So they are also not to be messed with,
That's
right?
true. It did not want to be in his pocket, so
It
it was
did
trying to
not.
get out of there.
It did not. It was trying to let him know that I don't know if he was misusing it or just wasn't paying enough attention to it, or maybe it was just because his phone was next to it and it scratched it. I don't
There
know.
you go.
But part of me wants to believe it like became sentient and was like fighting for attention.
Reached out with its crystal hands, its
Yeah.
fingers.
Absolutely. So when
So
we walk into an investigation, like what do you guys normally have on your person?
So typically for me, and I was
Mhm.
told a while ago that it's not necessarily just crystals, but it's something that's meaningful to you. So you
Mhm.
take that and you put it into crystal form. So I have this this black onyx crystal that I wear on my necklace. I also wear my dad's dad, so my grandfather's clip, like old tie clip, and something from my mom that I put on my necklace. So it's everything kind of combined. But my black onyx has been there since I think day one.
Mhm.
So much so that the clasp to it broke, and I have to keep switching necklaces now. Otherwise, it makes like a clink 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 noise as we're walking through. It's like, oh, what's that? That's my necklace. Um, but
I
that
think
is
I've actually
actually
I think I've actually had to catch that when we were investigating
you
before,
have, yes.
where we thought that we heard chains or something,
Yes,
and I
and
was
I
like,
was like,
"No, dude,
"No,
I think that's
that's
your
this."
necklace."
But it was actually the one that we used as a pendulum when we were at
Yes.
Twin City.
Oh,
So I
cool.
think ever since then, I've kind of kept that one on me.
My go-to is all well, my go-to
When you remember,
was
put it that way, when you remember.
Mhm.
so yes. So I've been through quite a number of crystals because I forget to bring them, right? I don't have that connection with them like you do, Aaron. I don't have, this like nagging part of the back of my brain that says, you left something behind.
Yeah.
And I do have that, but it waits until I get somewhere and then it decides to tell me. So I don't typically do a good job remembering my crystals that I wear, but when I was better about it, I had a go-to, and maybe this is why. Maybe I haven't had a connection with one the way
Yeah,
that I
you
have
haven't
with
found
this
one since
one.
then.
Yeah.
But I had I had a black kyanite that I
Yep.
was just obsessed with,
Yeah.
right? And it was my boy. Like anytime I went anywhere with on an investigation, I had that black kyanite in my pocket. And I can't remember where we were, but we were at an investigation where we felt I can't say that I felt attacked, but I felt like I was very oppressed during this investigation. And when we finished that night, I went to take my black kyanite out of my pocket and it had fallen into about 12 different pieces. And then Derek, you were actually the one that, because Aaron, you weren't with us at the time, but I told Derek, I was like, holy crap, this thing fell apart. And Derek's like,
Was
that means it
it's
spent everything that
yep,
it had.
Yep.
it's done.
You know,
Wasn't that North Country
it
that
may have
happened?
been. I'm gonna
Because
be
it was
honest with
just me and
you.
you, I think.
Yeah, it was just the two of us, I remember, but I want to say it was somewhere where we actually stayed overnight and like slept there that night because I
Oh,
remember
okay,
taking
okay.
it out of my pocket when we were about to try to go to sleep with the ghosts. And I just don't remember what it was. But ever since then, I've been looking for another black kyanite, and I've
Mhm.
just
You
maybe I
haven't been drawn to any, and that's got to be why.
it's so
Yeah.
freaking weird. Like I just said, I don't believe in that part of it and
And
that
then go
that
figure.
energy of it, and yet I haven't had a connection with one, right?
Yep.
So who the hell knows?
Yeah.
That
So I
is
don't know what
interesting
that
you say
is.
that though, because you were attached to that one and you were upset when it blew up.
I was sad. Like I was not happy about that at all.
Yeah.
But they're pretty stones. Look at them. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm more of a hey, that's pretty guy than I am
Yeah.
hey, this is
But if that's what it
whatever.
is, if that's what
Yeah.
it takes.
Yeah.
What are your go-to errands? I know you have a list of them.
I do. So I wear them and I put them in my pockets, or I will hold them as worry stones as well. So when we go into an investigation, my go-tos for protection, I have like I have a tourmalated quartz that I wear, which we'll talk a little bit about tourmalated quartz in a bit. I also have a smoky quartz that I wear for protection, and I have a mix of like an obsidian tourmaline, black tourmaline, and I want to say this is a smoky quartz. So I wear those three for protection, and then on my other arm, I'll definitely wear my Super 7. And then something else that draws, whether it's if I feel like I need to be grounded, I'll do a green moss agate. If I feel like I need to like hone in a little bit more, I'll put on an angelite, or potentially a quartz, just a clear quartz, something like that. So the Super 7 is my absolute, my protections are my absolute. And then I'll kind of play around with any other bracelets that I'm wearing. And then in my pocket, I always have a black kyanite. So that's also my go-to for protection. I've also been in one of our investigations where my favorite black kyanite broke, and I have also not found a connection to another one yet. So I hear that as well. And then I also have like a labradorite that I use all the time that I'll normally use as a worry stone. And then depending on what we're doing, whether like what type of, whether we're just walking around, whether we are actually honing in on a particular method of gathering evidence or what have you, I will pick up a different one. So whether I'm trying to channel in on my third eye or my crown chakra or whatever that be, like I may grab my sodalite or I may grab my angelite as well as a worry stone and carry that around with me. So these guys, whenever they come to an investigation, if nobody's been on an investigation with us, they roll up to a place with literal just crates of material and tools and things that they've collected over the years while they're doing these investigations. I come with my camera bag and a bag of crystals in my journal, and that's like all I have to offer. But that's I come with like that's the only tool that I use regularly. Is
ultimately in the end it works. So if
Yeah.
it works, you stick with
that's
it.
right. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes to say that I think, again, and I've said this in the past, that's what makes us effective as a team,
Mhm.
is that we each have such a different way of approaching things. We have different things that we find our strengths in. We have different things that we find our power in, so to speak, and this is going to be something we're going to get into, but like I'm saying this after I just told you about the crystal that I loved and that I miss and that I sing happy birthday to every year and all this stuff. But like I find more strength in insignias, so to speak,
Mhm.
right? Which is part of this whole concept of like this psychological strength and the stone crystal strength and all of these things. I find power in the Archangel Michael whenever I do investigations. He's always been somebody that I have felt in my life is with me whenever I am in times of turmoil or times of strife or danger or whatever you want to call it. I've always felt comfort in this back to when I was a kid. So I have like a tattoo of his insignia on my arm. I have a bracelet on my wrist at all times, whether we're investigating or not. I have a necklace that I wear, and we're going to get into that, but like that is my version of crystals, right? I mean, I just find strength, and I find that I'm safe with those around me, and it's developing the more that I am around Aaron, the more I'm around you, I feel like I'm gathering these connections with stones just as much. And I would like to touch on that later on, but it's an interesting dynamic, right, between like those effigies, so to speak, and crystals, and how do they work and what do they do and all of these kind of things.
Absolutely. I mean, really, that comes back to the core of the intention, right? The intention with the talismans or whatever, you know what I mean? And the intention with crystals. It's really a vessel to carry those intentions through.
Yeah, and if you think about it,
Yeah.
they've been around for so long. I
Yeah.
mean, there's
the
such
history is
a
vast.
deep, long history of every one of these. Every culture has their own, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
kind of how it all started. It ties together between the stone itself, your insignia, as you're saying. It all ties together, and they all have a very long history. I mean, dating back to what, the ancient Roman era. I mean, probably before that.
I was gonna say, I think it was like ancient Egypt, wasn't it? I think
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a
that's for
long
me.
way
It goes
back.
farther back
Yeah.
than that.
Just further,
Absolutely.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much that at least in my knowledge and a little bit of research that we did on this, like I don't think that it has always been like people wear them, right? It was like people like I think the ancient Egypts. I'm trying to look through our notes a little bit, but like they would like put them outside of burial, like places where they would bury their dead, and they would have these rituals where they would put these stones outside of them. Now, why they did that, I can't answer that with the information that I have, but they almost used them not only for spiritual protection, but I believe they had actually used them for protection against illness, right? Before they understood what
Mhm.
illness was and
Right.
how
And
it spread and those kind of things.
yeah, I mean, it just goes to show how deep that crystals really went in their culture.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally use them for everything. I mean, from things like that during their lifetime to the afterlife stage, and all these. I mean, how many times do you think about the ancient Egypts when they're buried? They dig them up and they see how much stuff is buried with them.
Yeah.
There's almost always a crystal attached in some form or another, whether it's on the body itself or just in the burial chamber. I mean, it dates back to these traditions and a deep belief system that really goes all this way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would kind of like they would sandwich the two ideas together, like these insignias and these effigies and these symbols of power. They would put them on the stones and make like a
Yeah.
atomic spiritual bomb. You know what I mean? Like, but we found some really cool pictures of these things from ancient Egypt, which I think they're so neat.
Yeah.
They are, and it just goes to show you they also thought that they were pretty, right? I mean, you're not the only
And
one.
how could you not?
Exactly.
Yeah, they got their little Dremel out and they started to like they found an outlet in their tombs and they carved
Well,
into
I mean,
it
they
like
had
a
electricity,
sun.
so who knows?
Well, absolutely. Or they had a guy pedaling a bicycle really fast with his wheels that they had just invented. So I mean, it's just so
Yeah.
neat to see these things, and the beliefs that people had in them. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And they're so pretty. We keep coming back to the pretty thing. They are really pretty.
So I know that we were talking about not just crystals, right? But they also kind of tie together with the whole talisman idea.
Mhm.
I know that is a show in itself in its own right. But I mean, that's basically what we use our crystals for, right? I mean, that's kind of how we see them, is as these talismans. And you go from culture to culture, you go from Rome to the Greek, and you think about, if you think in terms of talisman can be, these pretty stones with something carved into them. Or you look at the Greeks who had the big rings and all the designs and those kind of things. Yeah, sure, they were jewelry, but they also acted as these talismans, right?
Yeah, but like what is a talisman though? Like what is the definition of a talisman? Like what is the intent of it? Do you even know? Like to say that it's a talisman. Like is it something that is used to conjure? Is it something that is used to pay homage? I don't even know. And I know we weren't going to talk about this, so I'm very sorry that I threw you off with this question, but like you kept saying talisman, and I just was thinking to myself, like, what does that mean?
I feel like
Like,
it's something that carries a little bit more like spiritual significance, right? Like it's not a trinket, but it's a like there's something that makes it heavier spiritually, or
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like there's something that makes it significant to the person who's going to be wearing it. That is whether that's going to be funneling in some of those intentions or protection or what have you.
Exactly. It's pretty much what we're talking about, how we use crystals with the intention, right? It's an object. It can be any kind of object.
Mhm.
And with that object, it has some kind of belief or spiritual power, something that ties to it, whether it's protection, like we use it, Dan.
Mhm.
I mean, it can be a direct tie or link to luck or to strength. I mean, more often than not, it's just some kind of basic spiritual influence. But the only real difference between a talisman and a crystal is a talisman is any object. Like a crystal would fall under into like a talisman umbrella.
Okay, so all crystals are talisman, but not all talisman are crystals, kind of like that.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
Diana
if you
says
want,
it's a charm.
if you want to simplify it, I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. It definitely
Okay.
would be.
It's just like this stuff is just so fascinating to me because the rabbit hole goes so deep.
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of nuance in it. Like there's just a lot of yeah.
Usually the talisman has certain intentions put into it. Okay, I can see that, right? I mean,
Yep. I could agree with that.
kind of what
Absolutely.
that's what you guys were saying, right? It's the intent, it's the what does it stand for? What is your, belief in it, all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is more fun than I thought it was going to be. Just talking about
I told you this
rocks.
is going to go
Like,
multiple episodes. All right,
pretty pretty
with that.
rocks. Okay, so after the break, we're going to get into way more crystal talk, and Aaron is going to geek the heck out on us. So
Yes.
please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every ghost story and creature feature lies a far more terrifying truth. The real monsters wear human faces. In the chilling book, All Monsters Are Human, from Derek Smith, 10 Twisted Tales expose the darkest parts of the human soul. From killers hiding in plain sight to obsessions turned deadly. Each story invites you to step into a shadowed world where morality unravels, and the only thing more terrifying than what lurks in the dark is who. These aren't just horror stories. They're reflections of ourselves, showing what happens when fear, rage, guilt, and desire take control. Visit nxmedia.com for more information on All Monsters Are Human from Derek Smith. And you can purchase them at amazon.com from nxmedia.com. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to research a haunted house can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com. The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives.
So part of these crystals that Aaron, you were talking about before we started into this episode, we're going to get into how we use them for an actual investigation, right? I mean, because there's a big component of crystals that we have found not only to use as protection during an investigation, but we'll actually use them as tools for communication. But like one of the things that like I was super interested in when you were talking about it, Aaron, were the root chakras and what that does for, you know, us or the crystals or whatever. So would you mind getting into that a little bit, like what a root chakra is, like how it ties into things, like what is that whole concept?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the concept of the major chakras, and I'm going to speak about this very plainly. Again, I'm not an expert on this, so I may misspeak a little bit, but this is my understanding of it, right? So there are the main chakra system, starting at the crown of your head. You have the crown chakra, third eye, throat chakra. Is that right? Third eye, throat chakra. Then you have the heart chakra. You have the sacral. What am I missing? We have the root chakra. I'm sure we can find a graphic and put it up there. Now there's a number of ones that I find that I work with most adequately on investigations. Most of them that are tied to your intuition are your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat chakra. We use a lot of, like, the root chakra really has to do with grounding and protection, right? So a lot of the black stones and everything are going to be tied to your root chakra. It's literally grounding you into the ground. What's so interesting about the chakra system is, like, the super simple way to look at it is the colors of the chakra match almost identically to a lot of the crystals that you're using, right? So like your root chakra, those are going to be really dark crystals. Those are going to be your blacks, your browns, anything like that that's going to root you into the ground. Whereas once you get up to the top of your chakra system, those are the clears, purples, blues. As you move down into your heart chakra, that's where you get into the reds, pinks, greens, those kind of things. So whenever we're talking about in an investigation itself, we're talking about grounding and using things as protection. Most of the crystals that we're looking at are the black crystals. Those are the black tourmaline, tourmalated quartz. We're looking at the black kyanite, those black crystals that are going to not hold on to negative energy. They're going to ground us into the ground and protect us. Whenever you get up to the top of your head, right, you have the black at the bottom, white clear at the top. That's going to connect you to the spiritual world. That's where you're getting into your selenite, for example, or amethyst is connected with the crown in the third eye chakra. You can utilize some of the crystals on hand to help amplify or connect with those chakras, and also connect with the intuitions that are associated with them, if that makes sense. So like, for example,
so we might be using some of these crystals without even knowing the intention behind it, just kind of naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of that has to do with like you choose the crystal, but the crystal chooses you as well. So for example, one of my favorite things to talk about here is like we were talking about earlier, Dan, whenever somebody gifts you a crystal or it happens into your possession, like that crystal found its way to you. My favorite example of this, one of the first crystals that I was gifted was from Derek, actually, who gifted me my green moss agate. I have been gifted 3 crystals so far, like within that particular time period, and 2 of them were green moss agate. Like, and that is one of my absolute favorite for grounding. If you don't know me, I love being in the garden. I'm obsessed with being in the garden, getting my hands in the dirt. I really, really resonate with that. Green moss agate or moss agate, which you can see there. These are the 2 bracelets that are there. I wear them almost every day. The green moss agate stone there is the one that Derek gifted to me. Those also can help with grounding, but like it literally ties you to the earth. But I knew that green moss agate was one of the most important crystals to me because it found its way to me in so many different ways, if that makes sense. We look at amethyst all the time. We use it all the time for protection, but really, if we're on an investigation, it's going to be one of the most important ones to help connect us to the spiritual world and connect you to your spirit guides, those kind of things. Like those, it's one of the most it's one of the most powerful stones whenever it comes to creating, like we go into an investigation trying to be positive and treat people with humanity and treat them with grace and respect. Going in with an amethyst, like you're coming in with that energy, with that thing in hand, without even realizing that that's what you're amplifying with that stone in hand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. Yeah, and I think, I mean, whenever we start our investigations, I mean, most of the time we'll lay all of our equipment out, but on top of the equipment, we have usually a table or whatever there, and we'll just lay all the crystals out. I mean, we have these bags of crystals, so you just end up grabbing whatever one it calls out to you, right? And I mean, more often than not, most of us already have something in hand or something on us that we're wearing or whatever. But
yeah,
I know that a lot of the time that, we have someone else with us or, some of the owners that'll stay with you, whatever, they'll kind of come by, they'll start talking to us about them and they'll pick them up and they'll carry them around with them the entire night. And it's like accidental, I want to say. Like they just pick it up, they call to them, it makes them feel more comfortable. It makes them feel like they belong, that they're a part of it. It's kind of again, it ties things together, it ties us together. But
it really does.
the table of rocks, it's just kind of what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to use a dirty word here, but that's
Uh-oh.
almost like the magic of it, right? Because like I don't like the word magic because in what we do and the way that we investigate, we don't believe in magic, right? We don't believe that things aren't happening for a reason, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like magic to me is almost a dirty word when it comes to what we do, because that would kind of get to the point where something happens just because you will it to, right?
Sure.
Or you want it to. Like, so that's why I say it's a dirty word, but I'm going to use it again. The magic of crystals, like even people like myself that are walking past the table when we're doing these investigations, like you're talking about, Derek, like these guests or the owners or whatever, people, there's something about them that people are so compelled to just reach down and hold on to one.
Yeah.
You know, whether it picks you or you pick it or whatever. I have no freaking idea, but it just
drawn to it.
I've seen that
It's
happen
crazy.
so many times that it's just so hard to it's just so hard to ignore that, right?
It's
Yeah.
so interesting. Like I can't tell you how many times I would go into my favorite crystal shop and I just walk around, especially at the beginning whenever I was first learning about them, and they tell you to just kind of like feel the energy and try to figure out what's connecting with you. And there's so many times I would pick something up and be like, I really like this one. Like, what is this? And whenever I found out what it was, I was like, this is literally exactly what I need in my life at this moment. Like it found me whenever I wasn't even going to look for it, right? Like this is exactly what I need at this point in time. It's been so interesting too, like even going and like, you know, I took one of my best friends to a crystal shop, knowing what she's going through, having her walk through the shop and having her pick things up that were directly related to where she was in her life to help combat some of the negativity that was in her life without even realizing what she was picking up. I would tell her what that particular stone was going to help her with, and she's like, wow, like can't believe I picked a more fitting stone. This is exactly right. But it's exactly that. Even when we are on an investigation, like having somebody gravitate, that's why I like having those out like that, right? Like somebody's going to look at a black stone and be like, okay, yeah, I know that that's, you know, black is going to be protection. I'm going to go towards that. But also someone might look at one of my blue stones, see a sodalite and be like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Not realizing that that's going to help them when they're on the investigation to be able to hear or speak their truth a little bit better, to be able to understand what they're if they have an intuition, if they're channeled into that, to be able to have things come in and come through them, to be able to understand what's going on. I personally think if I can get Derek to start branching out into some of the other ones, I really think having him go towards some of the blue stones, I feel like some of his intuition lies in being able to hear and speak what we can't. We know this as well, Dan, right? Like he's the person that can hear and speak some of those things. You know, we have him on the Estes method every time because he can hear it and he can speak it better than anybody else. That's an intuition. And if he was amplifying it using one of these stones, you know, setting that intention, I can only imagine what kind of things would start coming through.
I mean, hey, listen, and when we're on an investigation, you know, you just guide me toward it. And, you know, I'm not going to say no.
It'll be there waiting for you, Derek. It'll be there waiting for you.
So, I mean, for we're talking investigations then, what outside of the protection aspect, you know, how else do we, or do we try to use them? Or
so let me start that, because Aaron, I want to say something that you probably don't. I know you don't know this, but when we were at the residence doing excuse me, the older lady that was in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, I caught you doing something that then you were holding a selenite wand.
I was just thinking this.
And you were like rubbing it on your forehead or your third eye.
Yep.
And I was watching you do that while we were talking with the homeowner, and I was just so intrigued, thinking like, does she have a forehead itch? Like, but it was obviously much more than that, right? But like the first time I saw you doing it, I was like, just kind of stopped for a second, and you just kept doing it. And then I had a piece of selenite with me as well, and then I was like, I'm going to be a monkey here. I see her doing this. Now I'm going to do this. And then I was like, oh, look how cool I am. Like, you know, rub my forehead with it. But like, what were you doing in that moment?
But you also didn't have that forehead scratch anymore, right? I mean,
I did not. It was actually it was soothing to a point where I don't know if it was the crystal or what, but like, what was that whole thing you were doing?
So when we were sitting talking to that particular person, we know as we were sitting there talking to her that both you and I were feeling that there was a presence that was above us in the what is that called? Like the loft above, right? And I could
Yeah.
feel him up there watching us. And basically, it was like clogging. It felt like my third eye was clogging up. Like I had all of this income coming in, and I couldn't. So I was literally trying to use the selenite to like clear things out. And it is so smooth. It's like so soothing. Even sitting here doing this right now, like you can feel as I'm doing that, like I can feel this whole area. I do it in my chest as well, right? I have that orange selenite that you put up there. I literally sleep with this on my chest most nights because you can literally just feel the soothing will just like clear all of that anxiety or like pressure or heaviness out. And that's what I was feeling so much there with her, is I was trying to focus on him while also continuing to focus on her, but just continue to keep my third eye chakra moving, if that makes sense. I don't do that very often. I have done it a couple times during our investigation, but in that particular instance, it's the only thing that felt right as we were sitting there talking to her, which was so interesting. Like it just felt like I was able to like clear a little bit in my forehead to be able to focus on what was going on and focus on what energy was happening.
So
You know what's
yeah.
weird is I didn't even notice you doing that.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it was, well, you were engaged talking to the homeowner, as well as the two of us, but you know, Derek, you were doing a lot of the legwork because you had, you know, set up a packet of crystals to give to her, and or not crystals, but like the witch bells that we were leaving for her. And Aaron, you had put like a care package together with crystals,
Yeah.
and you were like walking her through the literature that we were providing for her, and like going through all of that while Aaron was sitting there. And like it was just something that drew me to the whole practice, right? Of like I still, until we just talked about it, I didn't know really what the intent of that was.
Yeah.
But I will tell, like I said, I kind of, I wanted to look like I was cool, you know, and I got mine out and I started doing that, and like whatever it was doing, I did find like a calming type
Yeah.
energy that came out of it. Maybe who knows, right?
Selenite. I'm telling you, selenite is like, it is absolutely amazing. I love my selenite. If anybody, I mean, most people just have selenite just for cleansing. Like they'll have little plates that they'll throw their crystals on, and that's all. It's like used as like a tool to cleanse your other crystals. Selenite is amazing. Like it is an absolute workhorse. I use it almost every single day. It is just like, it is one of my absolute favorites. It's completely underrated. 10 out
I
of
love
10.
that.
It's amazing.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So Derek, we started using crystals as tools first before
We
we
did.
started using them really as protection. So when we were prepping for this episode, you know, Derek is our you know, documentarian, right? Like he's the one that
Going
puts
into our
all of,
archives here.
yeah, he's the one that puts everything together for, you know, all of our website posts, all of our social media posts. Unless you're on vacation, then I take over, and you know, we kind of like go hand in hand with that kind of stuff. But when we were starting to talk about this episode and where it was going to go, you know, obviously we're way off base
Yeah,
of where
right.
we thought we were going to go, but that's why I love
Aren't we
doing
always?
that's why I love doing these shows, because like we just start talking and we remind ourselves why we work, right? But something that you brought up there that I didn't even think about was the use of crystals as a communication tool, which is the pendulum.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first things that we used them for. And I believe that it was early on with we've talked about them before, Hidden Marietta. When we went to the Anchorage, they had showed us how to correctly use the pendulum. Now, we don't do it as much as we should, but early on we used it a lot. I know you got really good with the steady hand and kind of, I mean, I know I was talking to Aaron about it a little bit. Like there's a correct form in doing this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you because we've also experimented before by trying to hang it on things, and there's been you know, there's these little pyramid devices that you can hang the pendulum from, but then you lose the human aspect of it. Right, the energy is supposed to be able to channel through you. So when you do that, when you start using these other tools instead of the human, you know, you also lose that. So
Yeah.
but the pendulum absolutely has given us some pretty incredible moments.
Yeah. So
Um,
do you have that? Do you have the stuff from Twin
oh,
City Opera House available?
so I do. I mean, do you want to talk about that a little bit
Yeah,
before
I
we?
do actually. So
That one
Derek
meant a
and
lot to us.
it really did. So this was obviously PE, pre-Aaron, right? Derek and I were at the Twin City Opera House,
With your
which was
sister.
in with my younger sister Julia. Shout out to Julia, who's probably not listening. But Derek, you and I, we didn't have a ton of equipment at the time. We had a lot, but we didn't have nearly what we have
Not
now.
what we do now, right?
So we were kind of going au natural, so to speak. And there is in the basement area of this opera house. It's all like dirt floors for the most part, like broken cement. There is a spirit in this opera house, and I'm sure we're going to get into this investigation at some point down the line. But there is a young girl that is believed to be the
Well,
spirit.
we found that out. At first, when we went in, we were told stories about a grouchy old man that was in the basement that didn't want
Yep,
anybody there. So
yep,
we kind of went into that basement
that's right.
guarded a little bit because he wasn't
Yep,
supposed to be the friendliest or most talkative or anything.
that's right. That's right.
But we did find out that the little girl was kind of attached to us. You know, she followed us throughout the night, and we were told that via the pendulum.
Yeah, and one of the things that we are very big on is validating senses, right? Like
Correct.
when we have, Aaron or Sabrina or myself or Derek or whoever is picking up on energies or whatever, we always look for validation and confirmation through other pieces of equipment. We're not trying to discredit each other, but we're just trying to, you know, get that ultimate, documentation of what we're feeling, right? It's one thing for Aaron to walk into a room and say, I feel this, or me to walk into a room and say, I feel this person, or what
Which
have
means a
you.
lot as in its own right.
Well, that's the initial guide, right? That
Right.
steers us in a direction. And then we try to, deploy equipment and then speak to this energy or speak to this individual that we're feeling and then say, such and such, will you interact with this device? And this was like one of the first times we really did that when it came to like these intangibles and this like big question mark of a pendulum. So we were in this basement area. Like I say, it was just gross and dirty and kind of neat all at the same time. And we had some devices. We had K2 meters. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We had mini mag lights set up.
We had all three. You were right. We
A
did
bunch.
have the K2 meters as well.
So we had them like spread around the basement, right? And this basement's huge, and we had like mini mag lights positioned by chairs, like on the one corner, and on the other corner we had like a REM pod or a spirit light or something, and then I had a flashlight right beside me, and we were playing with this little girl spirit. Um, And, I had asked this little girl that if it was in fact, and I do not remember my name, and I feel really bad that I can't remember her name right now.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, thank you. Um, like I said, Elizabeth, if it's you, can you turn this flashlight on beside me? And whenever I said that, she turned the flashlight on, right? So then in order to rule out that leg of, it could be anything, I was like, I would like to play a game with you, Elizabeth. Can you run really fast? When I say go, I said, run really fast over to that corner and turn that flashlight on. And I said, okay, ready, go. And as soon as I said go, it took a second. And then the flashlight in the corner of the basement turned on, right? So that we established that
Not
connection.
not only that, but the flashlight that was on next to you turned off. She
Correct.
left that flashlight and went over to the other one.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So then we we played with equipment that way a little bit, but then we got the pendulum out, right? And we not only got the pendulum out, but we also got our SLS camera out at the same time.
So let
So
me show you guys a clip of the pendulum because we had it. I mean, it was going. I
yeah,
mean, it was moving. Here, I'll play this clip here real quick. I mean, it was
Yeah,
going.
it's booking it, right? And we didn't have any audio on that, but when you're doing pendulums like that with a crystal,
we would get hit a little bit on any live streams with some of the verbiage we were using.
oh, okay, good call.
So I had to
Well,
cut the audio behind that, but we were all so blown away because not only was it moving, when we asked them to go side to side, they moved it side to side. When we asked them to move it forward, it moved forward. At the moment that I just showed, it was right in the middle of one of those actions, and then it was spinning in circles. I mean, it was moving, and it takes a lot for something like that to happen.
yeah, so when you're doing these pendulum sessions, you have to establish which way is yes and which way is no, but you let the
Mhm.
spirits determine that. You don't decide for them, right? So we center the pendulum and then we say, for yes, push it whichever way you'd like to signify a yes answer, right? And the spirit, she did push it a certain way, and then you physically stop it. I put my hand underneath and stopped it, and asked her to do the same thing for a no answer. Which way is the orientation that you want to push for a no? And she did that as well. So then we were, once we established that groundwork, then we started to ask questions and use the yes no questions, right? So while I was crouched down in my typical fat guy Tetris or catcher stance while I'm using the pendulum, Derek, you had the SLS, and can you tell us what you saw on that? Because I think it's so cool.
So it was incredible. Because at first I saw the first thing we mapped was just a person sitting in a chair. The next moment they moved closer. And then as you continued to talk and the pendulum started to move, what we saw is you crouched down holding the pendulum. You could clearly see you in this through the SLS camera, which maps point to point and it connects the dots. But as she moved closer from chair to chair, all of a sudden you could actually make out a figure leaning forward, reaching out and touching this pendulum and moving it. And I will show you. I was blown away when I saw this. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But I will play this one here real quick, and then I will play a zoomed in one so you can actually see the hand touching the pendulum. So if you see there, I mean, Dan's the yellow blob.
I am the yellow blob. Oh, I was
And
actually
then
sitting on a chair.
You
I'm
were
so
sitting on a
giant,
chair.
you can't see the chair, but it's there.
But that pink figure, there's nobody in that. There's nobody sitting there. That was when the pendulum was moving, and you could see Dan's hands actually up and over it, holding the pendulum. And then if you look real close, you can actually see her reaching out and touching it. I thought that was incredible.
It's so neat, right? And we have a love and hate relationship with that SLS camera.
And if you look at how much that's moving, I mean, that's my leg.
Yeah. And
So I'm sitting there mapping him. I mean, it's to me, it's just crazy.
it's
That's
so
incredible. Yeah.
But you're right. The SLS, it's like maybe not. It's big. It takes a lot to put together. I mean, but when you get something like this, oh man.
Well, I think that's the unfortunate part about it. It's so cumbersome to carry that thing around that we've kind of gotten away from it quite a bit.
We have.
Then then here's geez, I almost said it. I was gonna say here's the magic of it, but I didn't. So, but here's the cool part. Like, we constantly have these cycles we go through with equipment where we don't use it forever, and then we start to have conversations like this, and that's why this show is so cool for me, because like now we get to talk about these things that we did a long time ago, and then we remind ourselves how cool these things were and like how impactful some of these interactions were with these devices. So now I want to use that again, but I also
Right?
don't want to, because it's a pain in the butt to carry around. So we'll see.
Then you take yourself out of the equation whenever you're looking in these,
Yeah.
you got the bright light on you. You can't see past that thing now, so it takes the right situation, and being how big this thing is, how much it takes to put together, it's just, sometimes it's just not worth to haul it and lug it to all these different locations throughout these buildings. Now, maybe tomorrow we got a 2-room building that we're doing. Maybe we can use it then.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely think we should try it tomorrow because it's been something that we've been talking about as a team all week, and something that I would love to get back into, especially for this smaller location. Maybe it's not has not been a location that's been investigated previously.
Mhm.
So it might be one of those things as a pendulum, like a little swinging pretty rock is much less in it's much less intimidating than a, like a light up thingy that makes noise whenever they get too close to it. So it might be the way to go tomorrow, to be honest with you. For those that do not follow us on social, first of all, what are you doing? Follow us on socials, Iron City Paranormal, right? But we're doing this nail salon that Aaron's mother actually goes to, and she had caught wind during a nail appointment that the small shop is actually potentially haunted by a spirit. So we're going to be going there tomorrow night. Really excited
We've had a
about it.
lot of good
Really
feedback. A lot
excited.
of people
Yeah.
reaching out to us and telling us their experiences, and it's not a one and done. It's not one person experiencing something. So
Yeah.
there could be something to it.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Well, guys, this was fun. Like I said, we did not do anything. We didn't
No.
talk about anything like I
Nope.
thought we were going to, but I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was great.
We didn't, but just remember this. That's
Yeah.
all you got to remember. That was worth it all.
That's true. That's true. So, guys, thank you very much once again. Every journey across the bridge leaves something behind, a question, a feeling, or a moment that lingers longer than expected. But no matter how far into the unknown we wander, there comes a time to turn back. Thank you for crossing the bridge with us tonight and for making the journey back safely. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and remember, you can always return from the other side of the bridge. Toodles.
Thanks, guys. Come
Thanks,
back for
guys.
part 2. We knew it was going to happen.